27 things to know about the work of an evangelist. Because Paul told Timothy, do the work of an evangelist. Now, this is number 4. The 4th thing you need to know about the work of an evangelist. Jesus was the first evangelist. Many of us will think, if I were to ask you, who was the first person that was ever called into the ministry of an evangelist? Many of you will say it's Stephen or it's Philip, but that would be wrong. The first person to ever occupy the ministry of the evangelist is Jesus himself. Matthew chapter 9 and verse 35. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. You see, Jesus was the first evangelist. Number 1, you see, Jesus was not localized. When he started his ministry, he was not localized. Take note of it. Jesus did not operate as a pastor. Jesus did not pastor anybody. Jesus went to the synagogue. He went to the temple. Every time people gathered, he was there also. He didn't start it. He didn't pastor a people. The only people he pastored were his immediate disciples. Number 2, Jesus did not operate as an apostle. Jesus did not start churches. He was preaching everywhere, but never planted a church. So Jesus was not an apostle. He was not a prophet. He didn't prophesy. He didn't talk too much. It was towards the tail end of his ministry. He was talking about the events that were going to happen at the end. 2 things he did. Primarily evangelist, and when he came back in, he would teach his people. So looking at the scripture I just read, you will see a few things that Jesus did. The Bible said, and Jesus went about. That is the work of an evangelist. An evangelist is always going about. Jesus started his ministry by going about. That is the work of an evangelist. An evangelist is not a stationary person. So if you are called to the office of an evangelist and all you do is you are stationary and asking people to come to you, you are not operating as an evangelist. And he went about all the cities and villages. He was always thinking about the next town, the next city, the next village. Number 2, Jesus, the evangelist, preached the gospel. When he went about, he went to all sorts of villages and was preaching the gospel. An evangelist preaches the gospel. That is his primary subject. Not about how to make money, how to give birth to children, how to grow tall, how to grow short, how to reduce your fat, how to be slim, how to start businesses. No, pastors can do all that. But a bona fide evangelist doesn't do all those things. An evangelist has one message: the gospel of salvation. He wants to get people saved. So Jesus was the first evangelist, because when he started his ministry, that was all Jesus was preaching. And the Bible said, teaching the synagogue, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every disease. Jesus was preaching, Jesus was healing, and he was delivering the people. This is a practical demonstration of the work of an evangelist. An evangelist is a preacher, an evangelist is a healer, an evangelist is a deliverer. So if you want to learn how the work of an evangelist, or if you want to learn how an evangelist operates, because that was some of the challenges I had as a minister. I've always known that my primary calling was evangelistic. But every church conference I ever went to, since I came into ministry, every church conference I ever went to, they were always trying to teach me to be a good pastor. I have never attended a minister's conference that focuses on teaching people on how to become an effective evangelist. That is why everybody is a pastor today. And some of us, we want to learn. And all I thought was there in the Bible about the ministry of the evangelist is Philip. And Philip was so scanty in the New Testament that there isn't too much to learn from him. So many of us were forced to abandon what we're supposed to do. In fact, I was asking myself the other day, if somebody were to ask me in your ministry that has spanned years, what will you say has been your number one regret And I thought about it and I would say, my number one regret, in fact, my only regret I have had in ministry was that I allowed myself to be pushed at some point out of the evangelistic ministry to become a pastor. I regret that deeply. I respect pastors, but I am not one. But I've used a major part of my ministry struggling to pastor. And many people are still doing that today. Because there was nobody to learn from. But today I know that is, and I'm telling you this, if you are called into the office of an evangelist, there is someone to learn from. It's not Philip. It is Jesus himself. Because Jesus was the first evangelist. Everything Jesus did, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, was not the work of an apostle or a prophet. It was the work of an evangelist. So if you want to know how to set up the ministry of an evangelist and run an effective ministry of an evangelist that has resources, that has breakthrough, go back and restudy the ministry of Jesus. You will be amazed what you will discover. Jesus is our model of an evangelist, the first evangelist to be called. God